The Dead Sea is more than just the lowest point on Earth. It's a place where secrets hide, ancient secrets, buried so deep in its salt-thick waters that only the foolish or the curious dare to reach for them. Welcome, brave souls and seekers of the strange. Tonight, we'll plunge into the depths of a story that will shake the very fabric of what we know about history, life, and perhaps even our own minds. This is the tale of an expedition, an innocent mission at first glance, that quickly transformed into a horrifying journey into the unknown. It all started with a team of researchers, drawn to the Dead Sea's strange signals and rumors of unnatural readings. They went down expecting to find something geological, perhaps a rare mineral deposit, maybe some remnants of ancient artifacts. But what they discovered was far more disturbing. They found something alive. Our story begins with Dr. Elias Moran, a marine geologist, one of the few scientists who dared to explore the depths of the Dead Sea. Elias was not alone. His crew was small but determined. There was Nadia, a marine biologist with a sharp wit and fearless curiosity. Mateo, an engineer, there to keep their equipment functioning in the hostile waters. And finally, Dr. Kenji Suzuki, a linguist who had been studying strange markings found along the Dead Sea shores. Markings that defied translation but seemed to hint at something otherworldly. Their descent into the water was cautious, the dim lights from their submersible barely piercing the dense darkness surrounding them. The Dead Sea was an unnatural place, its waters thicker than any ocean, giving everything an eerie, slowed-down quality, as if time itself hesitated beneath its surface. A dark, oppressive quiet engulfed them, with only the hum of the submersible breaking the silence. "Everyone keep an eye on the sonar," Elias said, his voice tense over the radio. "The readings should spike once we're close to the source." They drifted lower, watching the murky depths stretch before them. But as they neared their target depth, the sonar went wild. Strange blips, larger than any known fish or debris, appeared on the screen, vanishing as soon as they appeared. Mateo glanced at Elias, eyebrows raised. "That's not geological," he murmured. Then, through the darkness, they saw it, an entrance, carved from stone and illuminated by strange, faintly glowing symbols that pulsed in rhythmic patterns. The team stared, entranced and terrified, as they realized they were looking at something no one had ever recorded. An underwater temple, partially hidden by the thick layers of silt and salt. "We've got to go inside," Nadia whispered, eyes wide with excitement. "Do you see those symbols? They're not human." Kenji nodded, his voice cracking with awe. "It's as if they're alive." The team carefully guided their submersible to the entrance and anchored it just outside. Donning their diving suits, they stepped out into the viscous water, moving slowly, their lights barely piercing the darkness. The temple loomed before them, its stone walls covered in symbols, jagged, spiraling shapes that glowed faintly, as if imbued with an energy that defied nature. Inside, they found carvings, murals that seemed to depict ancient, inhuman figures interacting with early humans. The creatures were tall, with elongated limbs and strange eyes, their bodies adorned in robes of swirling patterns. They were depicted performing experiments on the humans, altering them, embedding symbols on their skin, and even inserting strange, crystal-like objects into their heads. What is this place?" Nadia murmured, running her gloved fingers over one of the carvings. "It's like an alien laboratory." Kenji snapped pictures feverishly, his eyes glinting with fascination. "These symbols, their language, I think they're instructions or warnings." But before he could finish, a sudden shudder passed through the ground, causing silt and debris to rise around them, obscuring their vision. When the dust settled, they realized they had been separated in the confusion. "Everyone, stay calm," Elias ordered over the comms. But there was a strange, static-laden hum over the line, and his voice sounded faint and distorted. One by one, they regrouped in the central chamber, where they found a massive stone slab engraved with an intricate symbol, a large, spiraling eye surrounded by alien script. The eye seemed to pulse with an inner light, almost like it was watching them. Elias, against his own instinct, reached out and touched it. The instant his fingers made contact, a cold, almost painful sensation rushed through his body. In his mind, he saw flashes, visions of creatures, vast and terrible, coming from the stars. They descended upon Earth long ago, establishing themselves in the depths of the Dead Sea, experimenting on the primitive humans they found here, bending their will, changing them. And then, one day, they vanished, leaving only. As they continued deeper into the temple, Elias felt an increasing sense of dread. The visions returned, this time with whispers, indecipherable murmurs that grew louder with every step. They entered a chamber that appeared to be the heart of the temple, where a massive statue stood, its shape unlike anything human. It had 3 arms, elongated and twisted, with an eye set deep into its forehead that seemed to shimmer, almost alive. The whispers grew louder. The team looked around nervously, and then Mateo noticed something disturbing. A small inscription at the statue's base, translating roughly to "He who watches within." Kenji, his face pale, explained that the creatures worshipped a god of the mind, a being that dwelled within the minds of those who had seen him, influencing their thoughts and dreams. What if we've woken it? Mateo stammered, panic creeping into his voice. They turned to leave, but the temple's walls seemed to shift and ripple as if alive, blocking their path. The strange symbols on the walls began to glow brightly, pulsing in time with a low, rhythmic thrum. Elias, now fully consumed by the visions, spoke in a voice that wasn't quite his own. "You cannot leave. You belong to him now. We belong to him now." Somehow, in the confusion, they managed to scramble back to the submersible, barely escaping the clutches of the temple. But as they surfaced, they realized their ordeal was far from over. Elias began to hear the whispers constantly, sometimes so loud that he could barely think. They followed him back to the mainland, haunting his nights, filling his dreams with images of the alien god, the Watcher in the depths. Nadia and Mateo, despite their efforts to forget, began to experience strange symptoms as well. They found themselves scratching at their skin, where faint, glowing symbols began to appear, just like the ones they'd seen on the walls of the temple. They each tried to rationalize it, to call it an aftereffect of deep-sea diving or salt exposure. But deep down, they knew the truth. They had been marked. Then came the paranoia. Shadows in the corners of rooms, symbols appearing in places they couldn't explain. Mirrors, walls, even on the skin of strangers they passed on the street. The alien god, the Watcher, had left its mark on them, embedding itself in their minds. Elias, now fully consumed by the madness, sat in his dark apartment, scrawling the strange symbols across every surface, his eyes wide and unblinking. He could feel it watching, whispering, "You cannot escape. I am within." In his final moments of clarity, Elias recorded his experience, leaving behind a chilling account of their expedition, a warning to others. But as he wrote, his mind was slipping, his hand moving on its own, finishing his words with a single phrase over and over: "He watches, he watches, he watches," and then silence. Since that ill-fated expedition, there have been no further dives to that part of the Dead Sea. The recordings Elias left behind were archived, locked away, dismissed as the ramblings of a broken mind. But the symbols he scrawled on his walls have never faded. They glow faintly, a reminder that some things are better left undisturbed. Some say that, if you go to the Dead Sea at night and listen carefully, you can still hear his whispers, calling out to those who dare to venture too close. And for those who do, remember this: the god of the underworld is awake, and he is watching. So the next time you find yourself staring into the darkness of the deep, remember, the darkness might just be staring back. And there you have it, the chilling mystery of the Dead Sea's hidden depths. What lies beneath those dark, salted waters is a reminder that some secrets are better left untouched, their truths buried far from human reach. If this story has left you looking over your shoulder, remember, curiosity can open doors that were never meant to be found. Thanks for joining me on this descent into the unknown. If you enjoyed tonight's dive into horror and the paranormal, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss another journey into the dark corners of our world and beyond. Until next time, stay curious but stay cautious. And remember, sometimes the darkness isn't just in the depths. It's waiting right inside your mind.